Welcome to Musical Mondays. It's Monday, May 15th. Hello, Inner Vortex. Thanks for joining. Monday, May 15th, Musical Mondays. Hey, and I have a special episode coming up tonight, right now. Any minute, Kate Fraser from Bees Please Farms will be joining. We'll just wait for her to show up on the live stream. Great to see you guys tonight. Hope you're doing well. I'm playing, don't know if you can hear it, but I'm playing, giving you a sneak peek. There's Bees Please Farm. Hi, Kate. Now you can send me a request to join, and I'll bring you onto the live stream. And while we're waiting for you guys, for Kate to do that, I am giving you a sneak peek of my new single release coming up on May 20th. World Bee Day, UN World Bee Day. Okay. Hey, Lara. Hello. Thank you for joining. Hello, Mariana Murphy.
Hello.
Thank you for joining. Here comes Kate. Hello.
Good, thanks.
How are you? Good.
Yes, thank you.
Great to have you on tonight. Thanks for joining. Yay! Yay! So for I'll just do a little intro and then let's
Sounds
chat
good.
all about what you do and about bees. Just people have been joining, so welcome everybody to Musical Mondays. I'm really happy tonight to have Kate Fraser from Bees Please Farms with me tonight to talk about their work, their important work with bees and habitat and chickens and all kinds of things. And I invited Kate on the live stream tonight because I wanted to connect with a local to me farmer and people who were working with bees, because I have a new single coming out. It's another Atlas to Earth remix of my song Vanishing of Bees, and it's coming out on UN World Bee Day. So as I've done with my previous releases of Vanishing of Bees, I'm trying to raise awareness about bee habitat conservation and the importance of bees to basically everything that we eat and everything in our lives. And Kate can tell us a lot more about that. So
Hello.
Thanks for joining. And Kate, hello. Tell us a little bit about Bees Please. You run Bees Please Farm, which is located just outside Victoria.
We're on
BC.
Happy Valley.
Tell us a little
we moved
bit about
out
what
here
you
6
do.
years ago because the business was growing and we needed more space. So I started this 8 years ago, and I rent out chickens and bees around the city. So as a way for people to connect with the animals and kind of do backyard farming. So that's why we called it Bees Please Farms with an S, because we kind of consider everybody that we're helping out along the way as, little extensions of the farm. So, my dog wants to say hello. There you go. There's always an animal, right?
Oh, awesome.
Oh, we've just been out for a couple hours, so she's happy that we're home. So, yes, with the chickens, it's a way for people to try backyard chickens without having to commit. And we do have some chicken rentals left, so if you guys know anyone that would like to try backyard chickens without the commitment, then it's a great way to go. And then the bees are my heart and soul because they are really struggling, like you all know, and luckily and happily, it's getting more news.
Oh, I think we might be losing Kate a little bit.
I can hear you.
A little bit.
Oh, I'm back.
I think you're
Weird.
back. We missed a little bit about what you said about, yeah,
So
yeah, I think we had a
the bees
network
are getting
glitch
more
there
traction
for
in
a
the news,
second.
so people are getting more and more aware of the struggle that they're in. And so with the bee rentals, it's a way for people to get honeybees in their backyard or at their business without having to learn how to beekeep on their own. So I do all of the beekeeping for them, and they would pay me similar to how you'd pay a gardener or a landscaper to come and look after your plants. So similar. Thank you.
Amazing. I love that. I might be calling you up for a backyard
Excellent.
hive
Excellent.
at some point. That would be amazing. Okay, and you mentioned that you have some chickens available. So tell us about a little bit more about that and
Yeah.
about the connection between
So
chickens and bees.
I came up with the bee idea first, and then I Googled it to see, surely I'm not making this up, and there are other people around the world definitely doing it, New Zealand, and at the time, Montreal and Quebec City. So I phoned a bunch of people to see what they had already learned, because it's, best to not try and reinvent the wheel. So then at the same time, my mom heard about Rent the Chicken on the radio.
Right.
They were on CBC. So Rent the Chicken was started before me. So that's an affiliate program. And I work with them. So yeah, it was started down in Pennsylvania, and now there's over 30 locations across Canada and the US that are renting out chickens and connecting people with chickens.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, you can choose either 2 or 4 chickens, depending. Basically, the rule of thumb is, how many egg eaters do you have in your house, and then kind of get 1 hen per egg eater. Or if you like to eat lots of eggs, go ahead and just get 4 chickens, because honestly, the cooking that you do or baking will change a lot based on the fresh eggs that you've got in your own backyard.
Okay, cool. That's great. Okay, so you all heard that. If there's um, anyone out there who wants to start either with bees or chickens, Kate is your person to talk to in the South Island region here on Vancouver Island. And I'm just watching people joining us as we're chatting, and I think we've got folks from BC, but we've also got in the Lower Mainland, Vancouver Island, Gulf Islands. We've also got some folks from Ontario, and I
Nice.
think we've got somebody from Brazil, which is super interesting to think about bee populations in Brazil. But I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned that bees and the concern for bee habitat and bee survival is in the news a little more these days, and people are becoming a bit more aware of challenges. What are some things to your mind that, say, local homeowners or gardeners could do to
The
help
number one
support
thing
bee
would be
populations?
to make sure there is no use of pesticides or herbicides in your area. Educate your friends, and
Okay.
I almost say it to everybody I meet, because there seems to be a lot of confusion. People think that Roundup is okay because it's a herbicide and it's, killing plants. It's not an insecticide, but basically anything that ends in "ide" is bad news for the environment, for our water systems, for anything. 2 years ago, we had one of our cats died of rodenticide because somebody,
Oh no.
our cat that had not even reached his first birthday, passed away. So yeah, bees obviously are drinking the water in the environment, and they're flying
Oh,
2 to 3 kilometers from their hive. So
right.
everything that we do really matters for the environment, and there's just a trickle down effect. So we have to be very careful. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for mentioning that. So any kind of pesticides or um, herbicides, anything. I like
Yeah.
the rule of thumb there about
Yeah.
anything that ends in I is bad for bees. Okay, that's really good to know. Um, is there are there on your farm, do you plant specific
Well, good
plants or like,
good
I don't
question.
know,
This
types
year I'm
of
very
flowers
excited
for the
because
bees?
somebody up in Nanaimo is selling linden trees. So that's the number one bee tree that we can get here. So I'm very
Okay.
excited to be able to make a home for a linden tree because when you think about it, flowers, have a limited number of blooms, whereas a
Yeah.
tree that's going into blossom is just going to be tens of thousands of blossoms, really. So the bees can get a lot of pollen and nectar from one tree. So that's going to be
Okay.
good. And then garden stores are getting quite good at
Okay.
labeling, what's good for pollinators. So you can buy pollinator blends and pollinator mixes, and it might not be specifically for honeybees, but all our bees here. So honeybees aren't native. So then there's our native bees like the bumbles and the mason bees. They need food as well. So anything that says pollinator blend, you can't go wrong. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so you mentioned the linden tree. So is it basically any flowering tree
Um,
that's super important, or
you
is the linden especially
So
attractive
that's a
to
good
bees in
question.
this area?
I'd have to look into whether there are some that aren't, important, but I would think that most things that flower tree-wise are going to give you either pollen or nectar for the bees, as long as it's at the right time of year. So, not November or something. I don't know if anything
Right.
flowers in November here, but obviously the bees have to be flying. And so pollen is what they bring in to feed the babies primarily. So the little larvae, and they are
Okay.
mixing that with honey and making something that we call bee bread. And then the nectar is what the foragers are
Oh,
bringing in to turn into honey. And honey is primarily what the adults are eating. So they work and they eat honey and they work, and that's their life. So, yeah.
wow. Wow. I would love to be able to eat honey all day. That would be amazing. Um, do you uh, do you
Not as
do you
much
consume the
as
honey
you would
from your farm
think.
yourself?
Yes, we struggle to think of things that we can put it in.
Okay.
I have a sweet tooth, but a honey is just something that's very sweet to me. So, yeah, but you can't beat
Yeah.
honey in hot water if you're sick in the winter. It's just really soothing, and it's nice to know that it came from the bees. And really, everything that they make is quite healthy. And even if when I get stung, I think, oh, good, because that has been linked with less arthritis. So if I get stung in the hand or something, I think, oh, good, that knuckle's
Really?
going to last a
Okay.
little longer than the others.
Right. That's funny because I was going to ask you if you had been stung before, because one of the photos I included on social media to advertise you coming on Musical Mondays this week was a photo
Yeah.
of you in a beekeeper's outfit with a big swarm of bees. So I wonder, yeah.
Um,
So how
I've been
often do
stung a
you get
lot, but
stung,
really,
or
I'd
have you
say
been
that
stung?
each season I'm now maybe under 15 stings or so. So not, it's definitely not daily,
Okay.
but the suit that I have in that photo is also like top of the line. So it's 3 or 4 layers of mesh on top of each other. So the bees physically can't get their stinger through that. And then because it's mesh, I'm not dying of heat because
Right.
we've had such hot summers lately. And then I'm getting a breeze if there is a
Oh
breeze. And
yeah.
if there isn't a breeze, I'm not shy about just going and borrowing someone's hose and just wetting my arms or even my back, so that it feels cooler because it does get quite hot. But I
Right.
always wear the suit for protection because you just don't know which hive is going to be a little grumpier than others. And I don't use a smoker because of our fire risk, and also because I'm
Okay.
driving around to
Okay.
7 or 8 locations a day. So there's no point in me putting out the fire, starting the fire, putting it out, worrying that it's getting lit in the trunk of my car or something. So yeah, without the smoker,
Yikes.
they can be
Right.
sometimes a
Yeah,
little
that
more
makes
irritated.
sense.
But generally, bees are quite nice as long as they're not going through the natural things that make us grumpy, like hungry or sick or overheating. Those are things that make bees grumpy as well. Yeah.
Right. That makes sense. Um, you mentioned the heat, and for those of you who live on the south coast of the province of BC in Canada, we are experiencing a heat wave here, and very, I guess I would say, unprecedented for May 15th heat wave over the last few days. I'm in Up Island right now, and it's 33 degrees, or it was about an hour ago here. So that's super hot for this time of year. It's kind of hot. That would be a hot summer day for us in August even. So how are the bees doing with this, with
Generally
heat and heat
quite good.
waves that are unexpected
Over
like this?
30 or sometimes 33 degrees, they'll stop
Okay.
bringing in nectar altogether, and all the foragers will go get only water. So the bees carry water back to the hive, and then they put it into the cells, and then they
Okay.
fan it. So they make their own air conditioning system, which is so brilliant. And it's just so neat because it's very
That's
important how
amazing.
hot their brood nest is, where the babies are, because they don't want to fry them. So, yeah. And then
Of
sometimes you'll
course.
see a big
Yeah.
cluster of bees outside of the hive, and they make what is shaped like a beard. We call it bee bearding, and they will kind of hang out like how we'd hang out on our porch instead of in our hot house or something, in the evening. And yeah, so another thing besides the pesticides, anti-pesticides, is that you can put out water. So having a water source in your yard that's consistent, that's very helpful for all
Okay.
pollinators. But you just need to make sure that the bees can land. So if you put some
Okay.
little stones, or some people get decorative and put marbles, or even a twig on an angle and they can crawl down and get the water, they would really appreciate that, because they can go through quite a lot of water with their drinking and their air conditioning.
Okay. That's so helpful to know. It's amazing. So that's the first thing I'm going to do
And
tomorrow is put
I
a
always
source of
suggest that
water
if
out in my
people
yard for
find
the
they
bees.
can't keep it up, if you have any kind of automatic irrigation, because that's getting more and more common with our dry climate now.
Right.
So if you put a plant tray by your pop-up and then it filled itself, then you wouldn't even have to think about it. Just make sure it's got the stones and then you're set. So, yeah.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. So I'm gonna pause and just say to people, if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Um, And there were a couple of comments. I'm just scrolling back here. There's somebody, the pagan knitter said, I
That's
rehomed some
awesome.
of my hens to Kate in 2016.
I bet they're still
Oh,
wandering
yeah,
around
that's
here.
great. And
And then is the Brazilian still
and
on
then
here? I
sorry,
lived
go
in
ahead.
Brazil when I was 17 for 6 months. So that was before I was a beekeeper, but Brazil is very close to my heart because I really enjoyed being in Brazil. So that was a very special time for me.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that's Liz James. I think she's still here. She did say gives new
There
meaning to the phrase the bee's
you
knees,
go.
that
There you go.
the stings can help with arthritis. So yeah, I think she's still on. So that's pretty cool. Oh yeah, she's still there because she just responded and said, "Ah, cool." Yay. What an amazing connection that is. How many bees do you have on your property, Kate? I know you said that you go
Yeah,
around to different
I grow
hives
food
that
here
people have
as
taken
well.
on.
It is kind of far down on my list of things that I have time for. But, I have a huge raspberry garden, between 200 and
Yeah.
300 raspberry canes. What are you doing? This little sneaker back here. Always a mother, right?
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I only need 4 hives here, so that's what I have right now. Yeah, just for our own pollination.
Okay.
And um, yeah, and the rest of them are all
Okay.
rented out. So last year I had 150 total, and this year I'm cutting back a little. I'm hiring a few new beekeepers to try and get other people involved. And yeah, so I'm just cutting back a little, maybe more like 120 or 130 this year. I don't have a final count yet, but we're gearing up. This weather is really obviously speeding things up quite a lot,
Right.
because the bees are, if this keeps up, they're going to
Yeah.
start being ahead of schedule, which is really unusual, because last year we almost didn't get a spring, and it was very wet and cold in May, so
That's
things
true.
were
Yeah.
behind. So yeah, there's an expression in beekeeping where you're always supposed to be 1 or 2 steps ahead of the bees. But when the weather does this, like, it was only today that I wore shorts for the majority of the day, because I'm still in denial that that this is really happening.
I know. I know. It's like,
I know, I
I
know.
know.
So
It's,
I
I
go
don't
out
even
there
know
and
where my summer wardrobe
sweat
is
in my
right now.
jogging
So,
pants or something, because I'm just used to, I think, oh, surely it's going to start raining soon or something. Not here. Oh.
yeah, totally. Um, so for you folks who have joined tonight, one of the things that Kate from Bees Please Farms has generously offered to me is one of her packages or containers of honeycomb from her farm. So what we'll do is we'll do a little contest, and she'll be right back. Maybe she's going to get the container of honeycomb to show us. Um, so what we're going to do for that is, if you can share my post from today, and there's the honeycomb. Yum.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, Kate. So what people can do is they can share my post from today. So I made a post on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter about Kate joining the live stream tonight. So what you need to do is share that on any of those 3 platforms and tag 3 of your friends, and also tag me and tag Bees Please. I think Bees Please is just on Instagram, so you'd be able to tag Kate on Instagram at
I think
bees
another
underscore
underscore farms.
please
Yep.
farms, I think is what it is. Yeah, okay, thank you. So do that, and then what I'll do is I'll track those posts and choose a winner sometime tomorrow, and then Kate and I'll coordinate how to make that happen. Um, and so I try to keep these under 25 minutes because the Instagram algorithm is more friendly to me when my videos are under 25 minutes, and it shows them to more people. So I'll
Thank
wrap us
you.
up and say thank you so much for joining, Kate, and sharing all this information about the amazing work that you do. And I'm so grateful that there are people like you in the world, because bees are very close to my heart, and that you're doing what you're
Don't
doing.
make me cry.
Makes it all worthwhile to me as an
Yeah,
artist.
I know. I
Oh,
feel really blessed to be doing what I'm doing, and I'm happy every day that I get to go to work and do this. And I have to say, all of my customers are really lovely as well, because they're doing it for 100% the reason of wanting to do it for the bees. So it's just a really special thing. So yeah. And then
yeah,
even, my kids are learning, and I get to meet new people, and yeah, it feels like a good ripple, making a good ripple.
it's totally. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing, and thanks for being here with us tonight.
Okay, sounds
I'll be
great.
in touch over
Okay,
email
bye
for
guys.
more details. And yay! Thanks everybody for joining, and don't forget about the reshare
Thank
of my
you.
post and the tags.
Bye.
Okay, thank you.